These twin girls from China were abandoned at birth and later adopted by two families, one in the United States and the other in Norway. The orphanage never informed either family that the child they adopted had a twin sister. It seemed like the two sisters might never meet again, but fate had other plans. By sheer coincidence, the two families ended up crossing paths. It turned out that the adoptions didn't happen on the same day. The Norwegian adoptive father had suddenly fallen ill, forcing them to postpone their original appointment by 2 days. Before meeting their daughter, the Norwegian father bought a red plaid dress as a gift. But just as they finished the paperwork and were preparing to take their daughter home, they ran into the American adoptive mother, who had come to pick up another child. When they looked at each other's children, they were stunned. Not only were the girls dressed in similar red dresses, but their faces looked shockingly alike.
It was just incredible.
And what are the odds?
The girls look so much alike.
After a brief conversation, the families realized that the girls shared the same birthday and had identical background information. Once the shock wore off, it dawned on them that these two might be twin sisters. However, when they brought the girls back to the orphanage for answers, the staff denied any biological connection between them. But since the adoption paperwork was already finalized, the two families exchanged contact information and, before parting ways, arranged for a DNA test. On the day they said goodbye, the Norwegian girl gently placed her hand on the other girl's shoulder, reluctant to let go. That small gesture only deepened the family's suspicion that the girls were sisters. After returning to their home countries, the Norwegian couple named their daughter Alexandra and brought her to a sacred Norwegian church for a blessing. Having married later in life, the couple had struggled with fertility and saw her as a gift from above. Meanwhile, in California, the American couple named their daughter Mia. Like the Norwegian couple, they were unable to have biological children and chose adoption instead. Talking about Mia, the American mom said excitedly,
And it's just something that's made me as happy as anything could make.
A month later, the DNA test results came back. The two girls were confirmed to be identical twin sisters. Both families were overjoyed for their daughters. Most adopted children may never get the chance to see their birth family or siblings again, and yet these two had each ended up in loving, supportive homes. Still, considering the girls were so young, both families agreed to wait until they were older before reuniting them. And so, the twins grew up in two very different worlds. Time flew by, and 6 years passed as the girls blossomed in their own ways within their adoptive families. Mia grew up in a bustling American metropolis, doted on by her parents, who rarely let her out of their sight. They supported all her interests, buying her a violin, enrolling her in dance classes, and cheering her on at youth soccer games.
Good hustle. Lots of hustle.
On holidays, her parents would take her out for special meals. Surrounded by love, Mia grew into a cheerful, confident little girl. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Della was embraced by the fairy tale life of a Norwegian coastal village, home to just a few hundred residents. Nestled between mountains and the sea, the town was so picturesque it seemed forgotten by time. Unlike Mia's fast-paced American life, Della's days were simple and serene. In the winter, she would ski in her yard. In the summer, she walked ponies through the countryside. Her Norwegian parents wanted her to connect with nature and live freely. They never pressured her to take lessons or study specific things. Instead, they spent their free time picnicking in the mountains, playing among the hills and sheep. Thanks to their gentle guidance and the natural world around her, Della grew into an independent, compassionate girl. She could walk to school alone in the polar night, and if she found an injured hamster on the road, she'd bring it home to care for it. On Christmas Day, Mia's American mom went all out decorating the house and dressing her daughter like a little princess for various holiday parties. Meanwhile, in Norway, Della's mom encouraged her to hike up the mountain and cut down her own tree to make a Christmas tree by hand. Though their parenting styles couldn't be more different, the love both sets of parents had for their daughters was the same. Neither family ever planned to hide the girls' past from them. In fact, they had always intended for the sisters to meet one day. Ever since learning that somewhere on the other side of the world lived a twin sister who looked exactly like her, each girl had been filled with joy. Over the years, they kept in touch through letters and exchanged gifts on holidays.
Hi, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Their parents had promised they would meet when they were older, and both girls eagerly looked forward to that day. When the girls turned 7, the families finally made plans to reunite them during summer break in Norway. Before the trip, Mia packed a backpack full of gifts, carrying with her years of longing as she set off with her parents for Norway. Della, on the other hand, had already prepared a brand new bed for her sister. After the plane ride and a long car trip, the anticipation only grew stronger. Della and her parents waited at the front gate. As the car slowly approached, Della couldn't contain her excitement and ran toward it shouting, "Hi! Hi!" After 7 years apart and thousands of miles between them, the twin sisters born in China finally embraced. At first, the girls stared at each other in silence, not knowing how to start a conversation due to the language barrier. Suddenly, Della grabbed Mia's hand and pulled her outside. Hand in hand, they ran freely along the scenic path, like little spirits diving into the crystal-clear sea. The world felt wide and open, yet the two sat quietly side by side, saying nothing, just soaking in the moment. Within just a few hours, they were completely inseparable. The bed Della's parents had prepared for Mia? It never got used. The girls insisted on sleeping together, brushing each other's hair, and even bickering like typical sisters. Every time they met a neighbor, Della would proudly introduce Mia as her sister. This reunion didn't just connect the girls, it also allowed the two very different families to witness each other's ways of life.
For us, we're always on the go, always going someplace, doing something. Here, they just seem to just sit around and enjoy each other. I like that.
What shocked the parents even more was how alike the two girls were, in their gestures, expressions, and even the way they walked, despite growing up in totally different environments. It was a powerful reminder of the strength of genetics. To mark the occasion, Mia's parents had a pair of necklaces custom-made for the girls. When joined together, the pendants formed a complete heart. Summer in Norway is short, and on the day they had to say goodbye, the two families embraced with heavy hearts. As the car drove away, Della buried herself in her mother's arms and burst into tears.
I love you too!
It felt like time had rewound back to that afternoon 7 years ago, when the girls were first separated. But this time, their next meeting wasn't a distant dream, it was a real, promised future. From that day on, the sisters often looked across the sea toward each other, letting the sky and ocean bear witness to their bond. In the summer of 2016, Mia returned to Norway. By then, both girls had grown into young women, still full of confidence and joy. They took countless photos together in the Norwegian countryside. That December, with her parents' encouragement, Della visited the United States for the first time. She and Mia traveled together and even went boating in the bays of California. By Christmas 2017, the two families reunited once more. The sisters, now teenagers, had shed their childhood innocence and stepped into young adulthood. In many ways, the girls were undeniably unlucky. Abandoned at birth, separated by continents, it was a heartbreaking start to life for twin sisters. But fate showed them unexpected mercy. Thanks to a miraculous encounter between two families, the girls not only found each other again but were also blessed with loving homes and kind-hearted parents.